Recently, it seems there's been a lot of talk about the dangers of 2C-I, or smiles. Some saying that it's a new killer drug, it's essentially a menace to society, and I think a lot of this is probably overhyped. Firstly, I would go with the fact that 2C-I is not a new drug at all. It's at least documented as far back as 1991 in Shogun's Vital. Obviously, Shogun synthesized it. It's been around, documented in Europe at least since 2001, so that's at least 11 years with no massive problems over here. But recently it spread to America, where it seems that they're having problems with proper dosage. And I hate to point this out, but if you can't dose properly, then you shouldn't really be taking it. But yeah, specifically in reply to James D, who said that this drug allows people to be possessed because you describe them as acting possessed. Acting possessed is not the same as being possessed, James. The symptoms that you're talking about can actually be attributed to something called serotonin syndrome. Essentially, the phenethylamine psychedelics are serotonergic. They cause buildup of serotonin in the brain. They react with the receptors for serotonin, and so essentially what it does is an overdose of serotonin in the brain and serotonin-like molecules, which causes hypothermia, that's hyperthermia, overheating, myoclonus, which is muscle twitching, muscular contraction, hallucinations, all kinds of fun things like that. So I'd like to point out, no, not possessed. Serotonin syndrome, it's well understood. You might need to read maybe more than just the one book. Yeah, you then follow it up with some Jesus being bullshit, but that's not very important. Just thought I'd like to point out. In fact, this will probably take mostly the form of a rebuttal to your video. So, in your video, you also gleam over the fact that it's clearly stated that the cases of fatalities are overdoses. I would like to point out, of course, that an overdose will kill quite a few people, no matter what the drug is, really. It doesn't matter if it's aspirin, or, alcohol, or 2C-I, or heroin. An overdose is an overdose. It's just a fact of the usage of drugs in general. And I'd also like to point out that when people point out that it's killing lots of people, that it's killing thousands of times less than, say, alcohol or tobacco, or anything like that. In fact, it's killing far less, certainly, than tobacco by percentage. I don't think that half of 2C-I users will die from 2C-I related illness. Also, quite a few people saying that it's like a combination of MDMA and LSD, and that it's more potent. I would hasten to point out that LSD is active at the microgram range, whereas 2C-I is like threshold, maybe 10, 12, 14 milligrams. That's a difference of 100 times as potent. That's quite a large error, I'm not going to lie. It's like estimating that the length of the UK, where I live, is 7 miles, which it certainly is not. It's close to 750-ish. So minor error there. Again, you talk about the trips lasting days. Just like to get something for you. This is my beloved copy of Vital. You'll notice that it is written, so if I can hold the book still enough, by Alexander Shulgin. And right here is Shulgin's data on the issue. So, there we go. Duration, 6 to 10 hours. Now, I'm not sure what kind of crazy days you have in America, but here in England, we have 24 hours in a day. I know that that might seem a bit long, but it lets us get stuff done, and it certainly means that our 2CI trips last much less than a day. We talk about the trip where a guy says that his girlfriend's face was black, and the black seeped out of her eyes, and this is demonic. No, not really. It's a hallucination. That happens when you take doses of hallucinogens. You will hallucinate. It's funny how that works. It's yeah, it's not demons. It's chemistry and neurology. Two things that you probably never considered or really researched. But yeah, that's fun. You say you shouldn't do drugs at all. You're not someone who's ever done drugs from the sound of you. You're not someone who has any experience or knowledge of drugs, certainly from your video. So I would say that you're ill placed to really decide on the value of drugs. I mean, certainly for my money, the correct use of drugs is a mind and spirit expanding experience, and it's something that I happily and responsibly indulge in. Uh, I am, yes, suitably well educated. This note is university level. I'm an undergraduate in pharmaceutical chemistry, so this is kind of my turf. I am an aspiring psychopharmacologist. So yeah, again, not demons, but science. But yeah, used responsibly, drugs are a perfectly suitable tool for the expanding of the consciousness and generally a life enhancing experience. Say, or perhaps quote, I'm not sure, you can't really see in the article, that the best information available online is trip reports, essentially. I would say this is false, as a full copy of it again, I love this much. A full copy of the towel is available online. Literally, you can't read all of this bit at the beginning. There's a, there you go, up until about, let's see, about here-ish. There you go, about there. That's this thick wedge here. That's biography, but this thick wedge here, this bit, that's all information. It's nearly 400 pages. In fact, I think it might be more than 400 pages of useful, reliable material on a number of phenethylamine psychedelics. It is probably the best resource available. You detail a couple of terrible effects on saying it's like a roller coaster through hell. There's always going to be negative reports. There's also a vastly higher number of positive reports. Let's see. For example, um, one quote is from erowid.org. Go on and find it. It's from an experience report entitled "The Gentle and Pathogen, number 83378. The 2C-I molecules work through my brain like a kindly physician, examining me, touching my body and soul in just the right places to promote healing and understanding." I say that's a positive experience, but in case you weren't convinced, let's see. Overall, this was an absolutely amazing experience that I am excited to do again after a little time has passed. It has also excited me to try others of the 2Cs. I would recommend a slightly smaller dose to anyone planning on trying this for their first time, maybe 18 milligrams. I do not think I could have handled any more than 20 by this time. That's the kind of information that should probably be promoted. Not all drugs are bad, doing drugs is bad, drugs will give you demons. That's a concept that I love. I will definitely recommend this possibility to some of my professors, and we'll see what you think. Maybe it could be the James Lee theory, often important theories like this one. uh, demon possession. So will uh, they often get upon us and then so good luck. Uh, say you point out that someone says don't drive on 2C-I, which is as commonsensical as saying don't drive on LSD, which doesn't kill people. It's not a bad drug. It's a mind-expanding drug. It's possibly one of the most spiritual experiences that the human mind can entertain. Uh, you shouldn't drive on alcohol. You really shouldn't drive on any drug that alters your reactions or your perceptions. It's not because they're inherently dangerous, it's because that's inherently fucking stupid. Uh, yeah, I mean, Carl has a glossary script for that, and the definition of the word idiot is one who drives on psychedelic drugs. It's it's just stupid. It's not because the drug is dangerous, it's because you shouldn't drive if you're busy looking at fractals on the back of your hand or staring at the trees going past and watching them turn into men. Uh, you're correct. I mean, it's just fun. Uh, then you go on to do more bullshit about the reality of God, demons, the devil, angels. I just ask proof. I mean, I'm a scientist. I'd like some proof. Uh, yeah. Then you hate on the gays because every self-respecting, stupid fucking moron Christian nowadays has to. It's kind of a rule, I think. Uh, and finally, I guess, to round it off, it's not that drugs open up the doors so that demons come in. It's the brain produces serotonin. It's really not that hard to fucking understand if you read maybe a book, maybe two. You know, like I would suggest that maybe Picard is a good place to start. Maybe learn. Oh, here we go. Here's a book you might enjoy. Biochemistry for Dummies. Uh, yeah, that one. Actually, that might be a bit advanced for you, but I don't think that they do. You know, I don't know. A is for adenosine. B is for biochemistry. C is for you're a fucking crazy motherfucker. Uh, the C there I took from crazy, and not from fucking. That's about all I have to say on this. Really, I guess my points would be drugs are not fundamentally bad. They're tools, and they can be used properly. In the same way that you can break someone's skull with a hammer, or you can build a wooden frame for a house. So too, you can either kill yourself with an overdose, or you can actually use it properly and get something done. Uh, I guess most of all, safety, safety, safety. So follow the basic rules. Which you look around Arrowwood, have a poke about with their guides to psychedelics. Uh, Lastly, I guess, have fun, because it is fun if you can do it properly. I'm not saying it's always fun. Sometimes it's not fun, but integrating the experience is always useful. Sometimes it's the times that aren't fun that are the most revealing, but ultimately, you've just got to keep on going. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone should do drugs, but if you want to, just do it safely. There's nothing fundamentally harmful about drugs themselves. Some drugs are quite harmful in themselves. I think actually toxic. Um, Again, some drugs are toxic in doses above their psychedelic therapeutic range, like 2C-I is. It will give you an overdose. Some drugs are so non-toxic that it's not even worth thinking about. Drugs like psilocybin or LSD, just THC as well. These are things that you never need to worry about dose. You're not going to be able to ingest a lethal dose in any reasonable circumstance unless you work, for example, in an LSD lab and you drink a cup full of liquid LSD. That would probably kill you. But yeah, it's just about safety, and just remember, uh, don't be a crazy motherfucker like James D. Uh, because no one likes a crazy motherfucker. And don't worry, Jesus isn't real, and the apocalypse isn't kind. Yeah, that rounds it up. So I'll stop by next time there's a crazy motherfucker talking some shit. So probably tomorrow. Stay safe. Have fun.